So good morning. Good morning to all of you. It's so good to say good morning out here. In fact, let me turn this around real quick so you can all see these beautiful people behind me, this beautiful community, Namaste, Lake Chapala. This is the first time in 6 months that I have been able to join all of you here instead of back there. Feels better. Feels better. And of course, our family around the world as well. We join together. It's all in the joining. Saying yes to experience the oneness that we always share. Whether we're aware of that share, that joining or not is another question. But we're becoming aware. We're beginning to feel. We're beginning to radiate and to know resolutely. There's only one thing going on here. And for the last 6 months, I've been in the back there at the little anchor hold that was built, originally intending to be there for a year, but 6 months is pretty good. But now to be able to come out again and join and to expand and to feel the vibration of this single commitment that we all share, that we all have, the single commitment to remember the truth that I am and will always remain as God created me. And I know I'm supposed to share a little bit of what that experience was like. It's going to be, of course, impossible to really share too much. Of course, most of you here at Namaste, you saw me through the window or when I expanded a little bit into the other room, but it was a deep dive for sure. It was challenging. Yesterday, for example, oh man, I don't know if it's just like the last day before you get out of prison or what, but it's like, let me out of here. But I knew that the morning was coming. I knew that when Sunday morning came, I could join all of you, and that made all the difference. The funny thing is, of course, I went into the anchor hold thinking that it was going to be just a time of seclusion, quiet, prayer. But I believe it was the most productive 6 months of my life in terms of producing. I had no intention of producing so much stuff, writing 2.5 books, recording, I think, 4 CDs, and all the other things. When Joy would, or one of you would come over, it's like, look what I just made, like since yesterday. Well, and it just goes to show that when we go inward, that creative outflow, the extension of the passion for awakening takes over. The passion for this awakening takes over. And we find ourselves naturally creating. We can't help but do that. We're all going to have our own unique way of creating, of extending that passion. For me, it's through music or writing or whatever it may be. For you, it may be something different. But to say yes to that creative expansion, the deeper we go within ourselves, the more passionate that expansion becomes. So it can't be contained, and we're not to contain it. Containing it is what fear is. We're afraid of what might happen, what people may think, what it's going to look like. Is it going to be good? Is it not going to be good? Or if it's really good, am I going to become egotistical because I did something great? All of these questions, which are just trying to get us to limit and to contain that expansion. But we're here simply to say yes. However we are called, however we are led and guided to allow that passionate expansion to take place. And here's the key: every moment, it's not just about doing something, it's about what we are choosing to be. That's where that expansion really manifests. What am I choosing to be right now? And am I choosing to allow my being to be a vibratory expression of that expansion of grace? And I know that you all know what I'm talking about everywhere around the world, because this is who we are. And when we touch and feel who we are, the truth that has always been true, that begins to spark. Something begins to spark within us, and electricity begins to just take over. And we find ourselves just wanting to give everything. And that's what, when you feel that, that's the key. When you find yourself wanting to give everything, to not hold anything back, that's what we're talking about. So that's essentially what the last 6 months has been for me. On one hand, I found that when you tighten the container, as I did by being in a small enclosure for an extended period of time, when you begin to tighten the container, it makes that passionate extension and expansion even more vibrant. Like almost like taking an explosive substance and packing it together. When it explodes out, the extension and the impact of it's going to be so much greater. I think that's what happened. But the question for all of us now is, how do we do the same thing? How do we tighten the container of our own lives so that we come into a single focus, a single passionate focus and extension of that light within us? And we're all going to have a different answer for that. But I challenge all of us to find an answer. How do we tighten the container? It might be something as simple as we do here at Namaste, taking one day a week and saying, this is a quiet day. This is a day just for me to go inward and to make that the priority. Can I make that inner dive the priority for one day or 1 hour or one morning, whatever it may be? For each one of us to find whatever that is, to tighten that container so that that passionate expansion, when we give everything, just takes over. So what is that for you? Now, for me, now that I'm out, it's funny to talk about it like, but that's what it feels like. Now that I'm out, now it's just about continuing that, because I take the anchor hold with me wherever I go. Just because I've left the room doesn't mean it's really over, because it's never really over. Now I take the fruit of that journey with me into our community here at Namaste, into the town of Ahihik, into the whole world, but mainly into me. Because in the end, this is about recognizing that there's only one who needs to get this, and I'm the one. This is not about teaching a group of people or having people from all over the world come, because if I get lost in that idea, then I'm truly lost. If I think that there's someone out there for me to teach or someone else who needs to get this, then I'm truly lost. But when I remember, and each one of us remembers, that there's only one who needs to get this, and it's me. I am that. That's, what do you call that, the little string that you put into an explosive, and then you light a fuse? That's the fuse. And when that fuse gets lit, it's like, you know, the old cartoons, Wile E. Coyote and things like that. You can see it getting closer and closer, and then boom. Then we expand out into the universe. There's no stopping us. But we have to tighten that container. We have to realize that there's only one who needs to get this. Notice the choice of words. There is only one. I am that. I am that one. Now, at the very beginning of the year, about 1 month ago now, We said that this year is going to be a year of the deep dive, of going to the deep end of the pool. We're not playing. We don't just get together here to stroke our egos or to have the illusion of spiritual depth or spiritual growth. You can get that anywhere. You can find that anywhere. We're here because we're called to take this literally, to really go deep, to realize that I am, not only am I the only one that needs to get this, but I got it already. That's what we're going to hear here in a moment. The truth is, you're only remembering this. The truth is, it happened like that. The separation and the return happened in an instant. And yet what we've done is we've taken that instant and we've drawn it out to seem like a very, very long time. A very long time in which we reincarnate and come back and forth until I remember and realize that there's only one who needs to get this. I am that. I am that one. And so we're going to be continuing this deep dive because I have no intention of playing, and I'm sure that, well, playing's good, but you know what I mean. I have no intention of just skimming the surface. My only intention, and I invite you to join me, is to go vertical, to go deep, to dive. And so one of the things that we've been doing lately is sharing these lessons that I've been writing back here. This is the half book. I mentioned 2.5 books. This is the half. It's about halfway done. The Master Teacher Within. Because the truth is, the Master Teacher is within each one of us. When I was much younger and I took my deep dive, it was with one that we called the Master Teacher. And certainly I can hear his voice in my mind. But that voice is saying only one thing: the Master Teacher is within. Don't hesitate. Don't hold back. If you're going to do this, do it. In other words. So I'm going to continue sharing these little sections, and I have one that I'm going to share today. So I'm going to put it up on the screen here, and you can all read along here as I read. I'm going to read this all the way through once, and then we'll go back and talk about it. Let's all take a deep breath. So once again, the voice you hear is but your own. The voice you hear is but your own. Those who want to hear this have already heard it, and that's the only thing I'm here to tell you, though I'll say it in 1,000 different ways. I'm trying to get you to recognize that you've already heard this message and that you said yes to it the instant you did hear it. You've already heard this message and you said yes the instant you did hear it. Until you admit this, you look around for the strangest reasons to avoid acknowledging that you've already received the answer to the only question you've ever asked. The question was, why am I here? The answer is, you're not. Let's just pause there for a moment. I love that. The only solution, the only question and answer in the whole universe. Why am I here? Who's asking the question? Because the you that's asking the question is the block to the awareness that there is no such thing as a you, a separate you, a separate identity that is trying to claim this little tiny space and say everything that's in this space is who I am, everything outside here I am not. The expansion into your single whole mind consciousness is simply the realization that that's impossible. It's not possible for you to be in a world the truth of you to be in a world where everything is separate, everything is isolated, everything is ready to attack you. This is an idea in your mind that you use to keep that spinning motion going when the problem and the solution came in the same instant. Do you see that? You expanded that out and began to spin around in a circle to avoid seeing that the problem and the solution came in the same instant. So once again, why am I here? I'm not, but I am. See that? I am with small letters. I'm not here, but the truth, I am, is always here. Okay, let's go a little further. Once again, I'm amazed by your need to deny the undeniable, but that's why you still seem to be here. You claim that you shouldn't live in a certain town or a particular home because you don't like the color. Hold on, where'd it go? Because you don't like the color or the way that the light hits the backyard in the late afternoon. All these crazy examples that you're going to come up with because the door handle turns to the right instead of the left. I'm used to it turning to the left, and I don't like the fact that it turns to the right. That's the reason for every problem I have. Do you see what we do? It's insane. What you refuse to realize is that your discomfort has nothing to do with the color of the house or the light in the backyard. It has to do with God. Your discomfort has only to do with God. It has to do with the fact that you're determined to deny that your only problem has what? Anybody know? Already been solved. You're determined to not see and recognize that the only problem you thought you had has already been solved. I'm just telling you that it already happened. It's over. And you're standing next to me right now. I've been trying to get you to recognize that for at least 2,000 years. And now here you are looking at the exact same issue you looked at back then, and you're just as determined as ever to turn away from the simple solution that I'm offering. The only problem you have in the whole universe is your need to deny the undeniable. God is undeniable, yet you continue in your denial even as you claim to love God. Once again, you continue in your denial even as you claim to love God. This is very important. It's time for you to recognize that you cannot love what you're afraid of. You cannot love what you're afraid of. You think you can. You cannot love what you're afraid of. You can only hate what you're afraid of, because hate and fear move in a single line, whereas love moves in a circle to include everything. To include everything. So I think it's time to stop denying the undeniable. What do you think? All we're denying is that the answer has already come. You're already home. You're still trying to pull this apart into a very long time, but it's futile. So why? We're coming together simply in the passionate realization that we can't make something that doesn't exist last a long time. Once again, the only question that you ever ask is, why am I here? And the answer is, I'm not, but I am. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and stop the share here. And I'm going to turn it over to our dear Victoria and see what Vicky has to share. Good morning, Vicky. Are you out there?
Oh, of course I am, Jimmy. None of us would miss this for anything. Are you kidding? Welcome back. In the world, not of it. Living by extension of love, not projection and fear. Living from the inside out. Bravo, brother. Great, great demonstration. great demonstration. And it's so sweet to see the fruit of your days in the anchor hold by saying no to the distractions and living from the outside in. There's nothing except the interior of our own soul that finally can come to the surface, because we're not using the external world as the blocks to its presence in us. That's what you've demonstrated. And the joy of living from the inside out, what living by extension, not projection, not bouncing from the outside back and forth and negotiating, but 100% here I am, give, because that's all the soul knows. The soul knows itself in light as love, here to simply give wherever the here is we find ourselves. So the demonstration is joyous, 100%. And it was, what a gift to join you in these last 6 months and pay attention to listening and let the voice of each of us, our own soul, rise into a receptive environment of our entire willingness and being. And for each of us, however we live by extension, it's that extension that brings us to the time where heaven and earth cease to seem to exist as separate states. So thanks, Jimmy. Thank you, and welcome to everybody. And it's a joyous day, because the declaration of here I am, here in time, but not of time, here to give, here to love, is so apparent and so luminescent. It's luminous, that's the word. So thanks for the luminosity, Jimmy, the example, and the joining, because as we join, we extend together. And that's what creation and time looks like. It looks like a give that we give together without restraint, with no opposite to joy, living in the joy of who we are. And that anchor hold is nothing but keeping that connection. And we're all called to do that, because why would we want to leave the home of joy? The idea that we ever did was laughable, but thank you, God, we remembered to laugh, and we will never leave together. And in our joining, we stabilize that, we gain that certainty, and we become the miracles here in time, that there is nothing outside of this space of holiness. And we bring it with us in our vision, in our hands, our feet, our voice, our everything. So thanks, brother. Thank you, everyone. What a great family. Thank you all.
Oh,
Thanks, Jimmy. Amen.
thank you. We lost our video feed, but we could hear. Could you all hear Vicky okay? Yes. Good. We're doing it old school. I'm just putting the microphone up to my computer speaker so we could hear you. Is Teddy there with us as well?
Oh, yes, he's right there.
Teddy,
Go
would you
take
like
it,
to share
Teddy.
anything?
Well, first, I'd like to say I'm glad to be at Jimmy's coming out party. And glad to see a lot of you guys, and some I know from way back. So, you know, one of the benefits of what Jimmy has done and demonstrated is that freedom has nothing to do with where you are, where you seem to be, and it's all in your mind. And when you're free no matter where you are. And that creativity being enhanced based on the smaller space is actually incredible. And it's a good thing to see. So I'm just glad to be here. And you know, talk about the master teacher within. The old man used to talk about something, about a new species being born. And there's something that somebody sent me, I read. It's called the paralogous gene. Paralogous genes are homologous genes that have diverged within one species. Unlike orthological genes, a paralogous gene is a new gene that holds a new function. These genes arise during gene duplication, where one copy of the gene receives a mutation that gives rise to a new gene with a new function. Through the function, though the function is often related, to the role of the ancestral gene. And that's one of the things that we're finding out. It's like we're a species that has discovered that the world I see has nothing to do with reality. It is of my own making and does not exist. And with that information, we've had to rearrange all of our thinking in order to come up with something to do here, which is leave it all behind. And the kingdom is entered two by two. So I'm grateful to see over 130 of us being here two by two so that we can get this dream over with and, and experience the reality that we've never left. Before time began and after it was over, that's where we really are.
Amen. Thank you, Teddy. Thank you, Vicky. And I just saw someone else. In fact, she just said amen. I just saw someone else who's in the room that I would love to have share. And that's Lisa Natoli. I saw that Lisa's in the room. Lisa, would you like to unmute and share anything about this passionate awakening that you're experiencing?
Well, Jimmy, I wouldn't have missed this coming out party for anything. I saw it come into my email, and I'm so happy to be here. I love what Vicky and Ted just shared also following it. It's so true. Like, to me, it was such a good demonstration of just going into the silence, you know, of the devotion, of the commitment, and like, you know, I love that you're talking about the master teacher, because I was there also. And I love, Teddy, what you just were saying also about this new gene. Like, it really is a new vibration. It's a whole new vibration. It's a vibratory force that has always been before time began and before time ended. But we've been so focused on the objective world of our habitual, you know, beliefs and thoughts, and that we haven't been able to access this thing which Course in Miracles calls love's presence. But it's actually, it really is a new gene. And so, like, you mentioned at the beginning, Jimmy, in your opening statements about like narrowing the containment or the container. And I've been having this experience for quite a while now, because I spent years, had the course since 1992, of trying to escape the body. I thought I had to be out of the body to be who I am. I thought, I don't know, I just got it all wrong. And now for the last year or two, it's been about being present in the body as not the body. Like, it's just a whole new experience to experience this kind of freedom, to like, I'm going to mention you again, Ted. You may not know this. You've just been such an inspiration to me over the years, but you said something that Glory told me like 10 years ago. You said something at a meeting back in the 90s, I think. And she walked into a meeting with you and Vic, and you were teaching, and she said, you said, you are Christ, and this is what it looks like. And then she told me that. And I've been sharing that for quite a long time, of this, that's the simplicity. We're Christ, and this is what it looks like. It doesn't look like Jesus appearing from 2,000 years ago. It's that you are Christ, and this is what it looks like, with all your problems, not having any money, your health issues, or whatever's going on in your life. You are Christ, because Christ is not the body, and this is what it looks like. And so, Jimmy, you are a rock star. I don't know anyone bolder than you. You seriously, like, Bill and I talk about it, like, who is this guy? You just do like these out of the park things. And so I'm happy that you're out. Thank you for sharing and giving all that you do. And I love you. I love all of you. And I also love the sound of the birds in Mexico when we did the quiet, because here in Maine, it's 2 degrees. So I had this momentary feeling of being in Mexico. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. Yeah, it's incredible to realize that 1 year ago, Bill and I were on the road traveling across the country, penniless, no money, no idea how we're getting from place to place, sharing the St. Francis musical. And here we are. It's incredible. So thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Vicky and Teddy. And I'm going to, Baraka, I saw that you had your hand up, so I'm going to come to you in a moment. But before that, there is one particular person here at Namaste who interacted with me at least once a day, often much more, because she brought me my meals. She did my errands. She would buy me toothpaste when I ran out. She would buy my vegetables so I could cook in the afternoon. And she is such a vital part of this family and this community. I wanted just to have Joy share for a moment. Joy, why don't you come and sit here? Would you hold this a second? I'm going to turn this around. Oh, gee, that was close. I'm not going to do that again. Okay.
Hi everyone. It is a joyous day indeed. What can I say? I'm so happy you're here with us, joining us. Yes, I was probably the only person interacting with Jimmy at least once a day. And wow, what a gift. I mean, I really honor you and respect you even more, I mean, than before, because I was just watching closely your practice. To me, this and you know, to me the most important thing and what makes the difference is the practice. And boy, this was a practice like, wow, very devoted, very.
Waar is waar die plan master operating? Put switch.
Yeah, mute
Hold
them.
on, someone's getting unmuted. Make sure you guys stay muted. Hold on. Where is it? Oh. Diane, you got, there we go.
Yeah, and I'm grateful that somehow I was a part of it. Somehow I was of service. You know, like it's so important how everything is interconnected, and how you in your daily practice and what you were doing were shifting every day, shifting, and I could see the shift behind my eyes, and it was a beautiful thing to watch. And so that brings me to the conclusion that the practice is what brings the shift. And it's not just for me. Yes, when I'm practicing, I'm transforming myself, but I'm also unaware of the ripple effects. And by your practice, you are shifting not just yourself, but everybody. And the shift is palpable, not just in yourself, but in the community. I mean, the fact that we are living, I don't know how to put it, weird times, challenging times somehow.
Challenging times.
And, you know, there's like about 30 people living here. And we're all different and we have different paths. We're not into the same thing even, but one thing we have in common, and that's love is our practice. And so you just set a beautiful example, and the peace that you were having, it was just like coming out as ripple effects. So we were in harmony. We are living in harmony, and that's a miracle. So thank you for your practice and your devotion. I love you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll turn this back around. Thank you so much, Joy. Well, I think we would all agree that we are living in challenging times, and yet It's very similar to what I said before about tightening the container. Even in challenging times like this, I'm sure many of us will agree this has been the most extraordinary time. The greatest lessons, the greatest expansion, the gifts that we've received, being called inward to transform, to say yes, to deepen this experience. Yes, it's been a challenging time, but you know, one little example would be that before the pandemic hit, we weren't doing these live calls with people. I mean, we have what, about probably 150 people joining us from around the world right now. And then many more will watch it on. That wasn't happening before. So because we went tighter, because of the challenge, we've expanded out wider. And this is really the teaching. Let it expand. Don't hold back. Give everything. So Baraka, I saw that you had your hand up. I'm going to go ahead and let you share. Let me go to the
Well,
gallery.
I just wanted to know if you wanted to make the announcement or not.
The announcement. What could that be? Well, okay. Well, Baraka did send me a little text, something I didn't know until just a couple of minutes ago. Many of you will remember that during this past year, I've been sharing excerpts from a collection called The Impersonal Light. It began with me thinking I would do sort of an updated version of the book that was written in 1918, The Impersonal Life, but it became something so much more. And we shared, I think, most of those lessons during different sessions. So we're going to be doing a big release of this in a couple of weeks, but The Impersonal Light is now available as an ebook on Amazon. So if anyone wants to go there, we're going to be doing a very special thing. The cost is only $3 because I really feel this is part of that expansion, that radiation to radiate this reality and this experience. And that it was one of the biggest and most important things that I did when I was back in the anchor hold, was allowing that radiation to take the form of this book. So it's only going to be $3 because I wanted to expand far and wide. So anyone who wants to get it before it's released, you're welcome to go to Amazon and just type in Impersonal Light in my name and it'll come right up.
And there will also be there's a paperback version coming very soon as well.
That's right. He's my manager.
We'll talk.
Well, I am just so blessed and I feel so grateful for each and every single one of you. I felt all of you so present with me during my 6-month retreat. All of you here at Namaste, as well as all of you around the world. So I just want to express my deep gratitude. And now we just continue to widen this circle. So as the lesson says, it includes everything. Fear goes in a straight line. Love goes in a circle. It includes everything. And this is what it means to give everything. Give all to all. Because when we give everything to everything, what do we have? Everything. How simple is salvation? So we're going to go ahead and end this broadcast. But once again, I just want to take a moment to thank Vicky and Teddy and Baraka and all of you who have been such a very important part. There have been so many, Alice, and I'm just looking at some of the names. Bob Davis, I don't know how to say your last name, but you are here every day. I see your face here. I don't think you've ever said a word, but you are here every day. So you represent all of those people who are here every day or most days. Just, oh, and I see Susan, our dear sister. Good to see you. And Sharon, all of you. I'm just so blessed. I feel so happy to share this journey with all of you and to come out in such a wonderful fashion. I'm out. Well, maybe not. You know what I mean. All right. So Let's go ahead and close with our prayer that we have been sharing almost every day. Let me go ahead and we'll do a screen share. And I'll invite all of you to, as you say these words, to feel the radiation of these words, not only the radiation outward, but inward as well, because you're claiming the truth. You're claiming what is real. I am truly the holy, perfect child of God. So as you
The holy perfect
come out, feel that radiation. Okay? I am the
I
holy,
am
perfect
the holy
child
perfect
of God,
child, God,
complete and healed,
complete and healed and whole.
shining in the reflection of God's love.
Shining in the reflection of God's love.
He is creation
Sanctified
sanctified, guaranteed
and
eternal
guaranteed.
life. In me is love perfected, fear impossible, and joy established without opposite. I am the holy home of love itself. I am the heaven where love resides. I am God's holy sinlessness itself, for in my purity abides God's own.
And so it is.
And so it is. I love you all so much.
Love you.
Thank you so much,
Love
everyone.
you. Love you
Namaste,
all.
everyone. See you tomorrow, I hope.
Thank you,
Thank
Jimmy.
you, Vicky. Thank you.
Thank you,
תודה רבה,
everyone.
שלום, להשתמע ולהתראות.
Thank you.